Just one change for Dublin from their win over Cork. Stephen Cluxton has only been beaten once in 4 games this year. He is their joint top scorer with 13 points. The full back line is seen as a possible weak link, but Kevin O'Brien and Johnny Cooper are in their debut championship seasons, having starred for Jim Gavin's under-21s. Jack McCaffrey, still only 19, but he's helped to light up the championship with his blistering pace and his stunning goal, especially against Cork in the quarter-final. This time last year, Michael Darragh-McCauley featured in the half-forward line, but this year it's seen him return to his favourite position and to his best form at midfield. The form of Paul Flynn has been pretty constant over the last few years, with back-to-back All-Stars to back that up, but his work rate and energy are absolutely vital for Dublin in that middle third. And the change in the team is the return to full forward of Paddy Andrews. He's forced his way back in after injury for his first start since the Leinster semi-final. Diarmuid Connolly moves to the half-forward line, Brian Cullen dropping to the bench. Now Kerry, 3 changes in all. Brendan Keeley in goal, his 4th year on the team. He's an automatic choice these days, and with lots of talk about accurate kickouts from his opposite number, Keeley's are right up there with the best. The defence features 4 players under the age of 25. A new fullback, Mark Griffin, is just 22. He's in his first season on the team and facing his biggest test today. Killian Young misses out through injury, so Peter Crowley is at centre-back. Tomás O'Shea today making his 89th championship appearance at right half-back for Kerry. Midfield, an area Kerry believe they can hurt Dublin, with Anthony Marr's return crucial to that cause. Jack O'Connor this week rated Marr as one of the top 3 midfielders in the country. Colm Cooper's move to centre forward has been much talked about, but without a Dublin sweeper, will we see him go closer to goal before this game is over? Wherever he plays, he is as lethal as ever. And Kieran Donaghy was left out of the team, having started against Cavan, but James O'Donoghue is fit again and back in a forward line that is absolutely jam-packed with scoring potential. Michael.
Thanks for the moment, Dara. Joe Bradley, Dublin have scored a couple of spectacular goals this year, but at the same time, a lot of people have been saying, you're about to make the point, they've been wasteful as well.
Well, they've created and wasted 20 goal-scoring chances, 20. And, you know, new team, of course, they're playing a very swashbuckling and attacking brand of football. They can blitz you, as they showed in the league semi-final against Mayo. Were playing very, very well, and all of a sudden Dublin had 2 goals and the game was beyond their reach. But they've played in fits and starts only. I think that they have so many pacey, talented individuals who want to take their own score that they haven't put it together as a unit. And that could be fatal as the championship progresses, particularly against a team that are likely to be as economical as Kerry. So they've got blistering pace, they create overlaps, they are virtually impossible to get a handle on, but they're given the wrong ball and they're taking the wrong shot. Bernard Brogan can be a particular roadblock, and I would imagine that they have agonised over whether or not to pick him, because when Bernard starts to have a bad day, he just tries harder and harder to get his own score. He'll only shovel the ball out at the very last minute. And you watch the number of chances that are sent to begging here by Bernard or Diarmuid Connolly, who resolutely refuse to give the ball to the man in a better position. I mean, Dublin players are queuing up to get goals, and this is becoming a serious problem. With Donegal last year, with the like of Tyrone, with Mayo this year, the ball is being moved. You can be damn sure Kerry will do it. So it's a big problem for the Dubs. If they get that right, who's going to beat them?
Kerry have treated us to the classic game of 2 halves a couple of times this season, Pat, particularly say Cork in our column, particularly in the Munster final against Cork, where they were excellent in the first half and then seemed to go walkabout in the second half.
Yeah, well, it was an education in itself for me to watch this game from behind the goal that Kerry were playing into the first half. They dominated midfield. Anthony Marr and Johnny Buckley were fantastic, and they knocked the ball down. They didn't oftentimes catch the ball, but they knocked it down to advantage, anything that they weren't able to catch. And they set up a platform, and the speed of the inside forwards and their movement was just fantastic to watch from behind the goals. Then the second half, Cork made a few changes, and then the most unscientific type of game in the world, they started to kick the ball in high, and Kerry were in big trouble. And if Dublin are going to do something like that, they're not really set up by bringing Paddy Andrews in to play that sort of a game. But Kerry looked very vulnerable under high ball in that match, and I think that's a big issue for them. Now, they could turn that on its head by bringing Donaghy in, and they could cause the same problem for the Dublin full back line, who have also looked very vulnerable under the high ball.
Pat, down through the years, Kerry obviously have produced a string of legend Coach Cooper is certainly added to that list. The Gooch and Ger Brennan today, is that going to be a match-up? And if it is, how's it going to go?
It will be a match-up, and I think it could determine who'll win the game, because if Ger Brennan can curtail the Gooch, then Dublin are half the way through. Look, he's a tight, tenacious defender. He's the guy that adds steel to this Dublin defence. While a lot of Dublin defenders have a licence to roam forward, Brennan is the guy that plays in the holding role, a sweeper for want of a better word. He's very intelligent player, positions himself very well, and is very, very good at distributing the ball. Now that is probably his flaw, and this is what Kerry will somewhere will try to exploit, running at him at pace. Now this is an unusual sight, because this is his only foray up front in against Kildare. It was his only point in this year's championship. Now the big thing, can he curtail the Gooch? The Gooch is playing at centre forward this year. A lot of question marks over, in my mind. Look, he scored 1 goal in 18 points. He's Kerry's top scorer. He has been the best footballer in Ireland, best forward in Ireland in the last decade. Brilliant vision, brilliant distribution, and watch this for a lovely finish with just that he's side-footed against Cork. Now, his vision and distribution against Cavan, Michael, he was on the ball 36 times. Do you know how many times a ball went astray? Once in 36. And sometimes he was man-marked by Jason McLaughlin and Alan Clark. Now, this is probably a flaw in his game. Now, his touch, his vision, his support play. Now, this is where we need more of him. The big question mark, that was the only time he literally ventured forward. That was his only score from play against Cavan. Now, he's playing centre forward, I say, yeah, because he's the conductor of this team. He's pulling the strings. He has great vision, great distribution. But the problem is, he's also Kerry's best forward. Yeah. He's Kerry's ace goal scorer. I think today, what's going to happen today, he's not going to play as deep as normal, and I think he's going to rotate between the centre forward position and closer to goal, because Dublin do not operate a sweeper blanket system. Dublin's full back line are vulnerable, and a quick ball into Gooch close to goal, and I think it'll reap dividends.
Okay, lads, I'm going to get a summary from a lot of you about this game and what we can expect. General consensus, Joe, is that this could be close, but that Dublin's extra legs, extra pace will win it out in the end for them. Discuss.
Well, I wondered at the start of the year on the first Sunday game night programme whether Dublin were flaky and whether they really have that steel that's required, that vision that's required to win it All Ireland. That will be tested today. We haven't seen it yet. They've been flaky at times, they haven't put it together. There have been problems with their style of play, so it's a huge test for them today. I think just on the basis of their furious pace throughout 70 minutes, that they will shade the game.
Colm O'Rourke, Dublin were All-Ireland champions just 2 years ago. Kerry were the champions before that.
Yeah, but I think it's a better Dublin team. It's certainly more attacking, because I think under Pat Gilroy, the half-backs were very much a defensive line. They never went forward. Under Jim Gavin, really, the dogs have been let off the leash to an extent, and I think we've seen a very attacking, open, fluid style of Dublin football, which nobody seems to be able to counteract. I think for Kerry to win today, they must isolate the Dublin full back line, go at them and score goals. 2 or 3 goals I think Kerry would need to win today's match. I think overall the balance of advantage has drifted in favour of Dublin, that they're going to have too much pace and power, so I expect Dublin to win.
Pat Spillane, I have never seen a Kerry team come up to Croke Park just to put up a performance.
No. And it won't, and it'll be a battle. But there's a lot of ifs about Kerry's performance. You're looking for their first 70-minute performance in this year's championship. You're looking for a Kerry team which unusually need to keep the game tight and physical. They cannot afford. They need to play the game on their own terms. They need to get the Dublin defence on the back foot. They need to exploit the weaknesses in the Dublin full back line. They need to get big games out of their 5 stars who have been there since 2004. It's a lot of ifs and buts. I think provided Dublin are creating 37 chances a game, they're only converting a half. Dublin to convert more of their chances, and Dublin's pace to see them through.
All right, and that says a Kerry man. It's a full house here at Croke Park, so who will come out on top in this battle of Gaelic football's fiercest rivals, Dublin or Kerry? Let's find out with Kevin McStay and Darren Maloney.
Michael, thank you. An absolutely blistering atmosphere here in Croke Park. Just a handful of empty seats as we look around the stadium. The previous best attendance until today in Championship 2013 was just 18 people, over 70,000 for the All-Ireland hurling semi-final a couple of weeks ago. A brief glimpse of Eamon Fitzmaurice, the Kerry manager, ahead of the 27th meeting of Dublin and Kerry in senior championship football. Kevin McStay.
Well, really looking forward, Dara. It's so hard to predict because form is pointing to Dublin, and as the boys mentioned, like Kerry don't come up here for a spin. I met a few of them in town, and they were saying, 36 All-Irelands, how do you think we won them? We don't come up here for the fun of it. And of course they don't. Lots and lots of questions, and we're only going to know the answers, if truth be told, over the next 70 or so minutes.
Yeah, 59 All-Ireland titles between these two counties. He was the hero in 2011. Stephen Cluxton, the Dublin goalkeeper, has the captaincy this year. I'm watching both teams arrive at the stadium earlier on, both very, very relaxed, outwardly anyway, with Mayo waiting in the final on the 22nd of September. There's Kieran Donaghy, left on the bench, dropped for the second time this year. Surely will play a significant part before this All-Ireland semi-final is over. Anthony Marr back in the team. Is there anywhere else you would rather be? Kerry have won 17 of those 27 meetings. Dublin have won 7. And on All-Ireland semi-final day, we remember Paddy McConnell of the Dublin County Board, Ray Prendeville, a 1975 All-Ireland medal winner with Kerry. We heard Pat Spillane speak about Ray a couple of moments ago. Mike Deneen O'Shea, Daithí's dad, who passed away recently, and Seamus Heaney. And those gentlemen are remembered here in Croke Park today.
Looking after juveniles under the summer camps. Former Kerry footballer Ray Prendeville from the Scarta Glen club played with Kerry in 1975. He died in tragic circumstances during the week in Namibia. Cuoinimi Freshen or Mike Daneen O'Shea. We remember Mike Daneen O'Shea, Irish language novelist and musician, and father of Daithí O'Shea, who was to be with us this afternoon as guest MC. Finally, we would like to mark the passing of one of our greatest literary icons, the Nobel laureate Seamus Heaney. Seamus played underage football with Castle Dawson, and through his work shone a unique beam of light on rural life in Balahi, County Derry, and on the life of our nation as a whole. Suibna Shiri Aranamaka Ushla, and Ishakarja Arana Vian, Achasad Eg David O'Leary.
The voice of David O'Leary from Gorey in County Wexford with the Artane band. The referee for this All-Ireland semi-final, Cormac Riley from Meath. And while we had that minute silence for those four wonderful people just a few minutes ago, two more names to throw into the mix. The great Paddy O'Shea and the great Kevin Heffernan a few minutes ago. They were remembered in a beautiful DVD montage which was shown here to the crowd on the big screens at Croke Park. Dublin won the toss. They'll play from left to right, defending Hill 16 in the first half. This is going to be epic. Dublin and Kerry for the 27th time.
Paul Galvin, Donncha Walsh have swapped.
And away we go, ball thrown in. Johnny Buckley with a strong right fist on that. James McCarthy trying to get to the break. And here's the gooch. Starting at centre forward, Ger Brennan then close to him. He's sent that one in long. Cluxton is a bit out in his line, and James O'Donoghue managed to catch it. Having to play a bit of soccer with it now, able to pick it up. Kerry want a fast start, like they had in 2009. Darren O'Sullivan, James O'Donoghue. Hasn't played a huge amount of football since being injured against Cork. They've got a free man out from Anthony Marr's pass. It's the centre-back Peter Crowley. Crowley steadies down, shoots on his left side, and the jeers tell you that hasn't hit the mark, and it's the first wide. And that was a long way off target from Peter Crowley, coming forward from centre-back. First scoring chance, not taken. Paul Flynn. His work rate has become so important to the way that team play, but a loose pass, Colin Cooper. Paul Galvin just skips away from him. Great feat from Paul Galvin, 33 years young. Galvin holding off James McCarthy, but the referee spotted an infringement. Was the ball touched on the ground?
Well, Paul Galvin was certainly fouled before that. That should definitely have been a Kerry free. He did touch it, surely, but that was after he was fouled originally. You just see it here. Just there, he's been fouled there. And in fact, it was his knee that flicked it back.
Jack McCaffrey. Keane O'Sullivan. Now McCaffrey, open road in front of him. That's Donncha Walsh trying to keep up with him, but his pace is just incredible. Kerry didn't want this to happen so early, but he's been held up, waiting for options, waiting for somebody to get free. Michael Darragh Macaulay has got free. Macaulay for Dublin! Over it goes for a point. Goal was on his mind. Point they have to settle for.
Yeah, it surely was. Great incisive runs. Brogan has peeled off. If he gives it now, he has a great chance. Once he went that far, he nearly had to take it. Brogan would have wanted it, and he would have stuck it, but it's a point.
Brendan Keely's kick out was for Anthony Marr. Pressure on him from Keane O'Sullivan. Kerry with the line ball. Donncha Walsh having a good year for Kerry. That's Jack McCaffrey with him. Walsh able to get his pass away, and Declan O'Sullivan has got away from Rory. Declan O'Sullivan for Kerry. That familiar striking action, and over it goes, and Kerry level in a flash.
Yeah, great response. Once Declan O'Sullivan got inside, he is not going to miss from there, Darragh. He's been doing that for a full career. Deadly, left foot, perfect for him.
His 61st championship appearance in the Kerry colours. Ger Brennan. O'Brien going back to Rory O'Carroll. Kerry closing and shutting off options out the field, and Dublin have to figure another way through. Paul Flynn, a lot of passes just to get this far up the park. Kevin O'Brien from cornerback heading towards the Kerry goal. Bernard Brogan didn't score from play against Cork, and Brogan has opened the account. And is that a sign that he is really going to spark into life today? Kerry by 2-1.
Well, he's peeled away for the goal chance that we talked about. Next possession, he taps it over the bar. Great work by Kevin O'Brien. Lovely fist pass, lovely finish. He'd be wanting that for his confidence, there's no doubt.
Kerry with a free. Cormac Riley just telling Paul Galvin to go back to the spot where the foul took place. Here's Anthony Marr. Dermot Connolly making it really hard for him, and they've turned the ball over. Here is Dermot Connolly. Two-footed player, and Connolly slots that one over. Very comfortable on his left as well as the right. But they ran straight at Kerry, and that defence, that inexperienced defence apart from the two O'Shea's, just parted.
Yeah, but the lift that a score from a turnover gives a team is massive. And the key to it is the two-footedness of Connolly. You can take it left or right, swings it with the left. Lead for Dublin.
3 scoring chances for Dublin. 3 points to 1, they lead. Kerry having trouble on their own kick-out. There's McCaffrey and the pace. Paddy Andrews brought back into the team. McCaffrey had stayed forward. Paul Flynn. Kieran Kilkenny. Paddy Andrews, a bit on the high side, but gives Paul Flynn something to go after, which he's done. Now Keane O'Sullivan. They pay over the place, and O'Sullivan not dragged down. Referee tells him to get up and play on. Paul Mannion is in there close to this. Mannion had nobody waiting inside. Everybody got drawn to the ball. Kerry wanted a quick start. It's Dublin who've made the better opening, and again the ball has been turned over. Caught in possession was Mark Griffin, the new Kerry fullback. Now Paddy Andrews, no pressure on Andrews at all, should score but doesn't, dropping it short.
We got a few of those in the National League. I remember being at a game or two up here, pinging them over simple that day. Different pressure today.
Colin Cooper. It's Brennan there with him, Jared Brennan. Foul. And some unnecessary stuff. And will Cormac Riley take some action?
I think you'll just ask him to cool it down. He let him off on this occasion, but the next one there'll be a colour card, I imagine.
And the ball moved forward.
And that's good refereeing there in my book. He's cooling down Brennan. He's also penalised on the 13 metres. And here's a chance.
James O'Donoghue in close to goal, trying to get free. Tomas O'Shea invited to come forward. Dermot Connolly there with him. He has to go back and get help from Colin Cooper. Thought about the shot. Goes with a very precise pass to Walsh. They've got in there in the back. O'Donoghue, goal! What a goal from James O'Donoghue! And what a pass from Colin Cooper!
And what a pass from Donncha Walsh. The little reverse hand pass puts him through here. There it is. And sticks it. If you're going to score from that distance against Cluxton, it better be a good one. Down low in the corner. And now the referee is talking to James McCarthy.
James O'Donoghue's goal, a yellow for James McCarthy of Dublin. Well, after a sluggish sort of a start, Kerry have arrived and in style, and they lead by 1-1 to 3. A brilliant goal from James O'Donoghue. Second time Stephen Cluxton has been beaten in Championship 2013. That was early against Kildare. We knew we had a game already. It's just gone up another level. Paddy Andrews blocked down by Mark Griffin. Mark O'Shea out with Bernard Brogan. They'll have some ding-dong battle. Declan O'Sullivan, the slip by Keane O'Sullivan. It's Dermot Connolly working hard to try and make it difficult for him. Donncha Walsh, James O'Donoghue sends it long over the head of Darren O'Sullivan, and too long for him and for Colin Cooper.
He was thinking of the right thing though. It was a good pass, just went over Darren O'Sullivan's head and the Gooch's head, but it was a good chance.
Open enough for Keane O'Sullivan. Here's Kieran Kilkenny. He hasn't had too many chances to take the ball. He's been fouled. The referee spotted a push.
And Dara, I just had a look around. The matchups as per programme are by and large exactly as is. Amazing.
Jack McCaffrey sending that long. Bernard Brogan is his target, doesn't get to him. Here's Paul Mannion, has Brogan with him. Bernard Brogan turns back into trouble. Why? So close.
Well, Paul Mannion is the man who steals it. Oh, he gets the ball perfectly. I thought he was going to do it on the left. Probably did just everything right and just skims it to the left and wide. Great chance. A quick goal reply would have been something to really up the temperature. Oh, just agonisingly wide.
And the most relieved man in Croke Park, Shane Enright, who caught the ball, or tried to catch the ball, and gave possession to Brogan. Here come Kerry. Fionn Fitzgerald. Colin Cooper, shoulder to shoulder with Johnny Cooper, and now Michael Darragh Macaulay has collided with Colin Cooper.
Well, he didn't need to do it. Cooper was trying to soccer it behind him, and Darragh Macaulay got in his way, took him out of it. That's a free.
James O'Donoghue making space for himself again with Kevin O'Brien in front. O'Donoghue has got a goal. Now he's got a point. 1-2 to 3. Dublin haven't scored in 5 minutes. Kerry on top in that time, certainly.
Well, we talk about the inches and the millimetres, and Michael Dara McCauley's knocking over when there was complete simple ball on, gives the free, turns over, ball over the bar.
James O'Donoghue's movement is causing Kevin O'Brien a lot of difficulty in the Dublin full back line. The Leinster champions will have a free, and there's so much at stake, but it's a bit of an edge to this too, as you would expect.
But great tempo, great movement, great excitement, every ball a contest.
Dermot Connolly. Paddy Andrews taking Mark Griffin out the field, the Kerry fullback. Andrews, Kieran Kilkenny there with him. Jack McCaffrey. Poor pass from McCaffrey straight to Tomás O'Shea. Shane Enright. Paul Galvin. Anthony Marr spotted a gap and spotted James O'Donoghue, who continues to impress. Now Darren O'Sullivan has got out in front but hasn't got the ball. Kevin O'Brien was marking him on that occasion, and James McCarthy showing brilliant pace to get there ahead of Paul Galvin, but it's worked out well for Kerry. Darren O'Sullivan, we've seen those soccer skills before. Paul Galvin, James O'Donoghue, Donegal Walsh, Johnny Buckley for Kerry. Now Colin Cooper. Donegal Walsh is completely free. They're back in again. Dublin far too open. Walsh, goal! What a start for Kerry. And Donegal Walsh, whose eye for goal seemed to have deserted him this year, but he's done this before. 2-2 to 3 points. An amazing start by Kerry.
And this time it is the Gooch's pass. One-on-one, brilliant finish, absolutely brilliant finish. On Cluxton, Dara, they are so hard, but look at Gooch's vision again. That's why he's at 11, that's why he's conducting the orchestra. Brilliant pass, brilliant finish by Donegal Walsh. What a score.
Who saw this coming? Well, there's been talk about this open Dublin defence all year, and they've been carved open twice. Johnny Cooper for the shell-shocked Dubs at the moment. Paul Flynn, a long way to go. Dermot Connolly. Tomás O'Shea there, and Mannion in after it, goal! Paul Mannion! Coach's instinct, and what a game we have on our hands. Paul Mannion's goal. They're back in business, but Kerry still lead.
Well, once again, the shot for a point that drops short, one of the most dangerous balls in Gaelic football. But Mannion comes across it and just tomahawks it into the net with a fantastic contact. What a game.
It's already been stunning, and we've only been playing for 13 minutes. Peter Crowley crunched. Dublin free, and they want Stephen Cluxton to take it from this range. He's their joint top scorer. Dermot Connolly a little winded. That goal changed the atmosphere around here.
Well, the one thing Kerry, of course, would want is some distance time-wise between their goal and whatever reply Dublin were going to come up with. The reply was instant, and it was a major three-pointer, and this brings it back now just to the one, and Dublin will be delighted with an opening quarter that sees them back in this position.
Here's Stephen Cluxton. He's happy with the strike. He looked a little anxious, but it has gone over. Now that was Peter Crowley. And here's the goal again.
Yeah, no doubt whatsoever that Jeremy Connolly was going for the point, but didn't Mannion do well to keep his eye on the flight?
3 goals in the first 14 minutes. Tomás O'Shea. James O'Donoghue. Quick, and his confidence at close to an all-time high, you would think. That's Kieran Kilkenny of Dublin, who's back there with him. Paul Galvin. Johnny Cooper behind, and he is surrounded and dispossessed legally, and now there's a free to Dublin. And again, that edge just comes back into it, and James O'Donoghue and Johnny Cooper unnecessary stuff from both.
The referee will want to take a bit of control. A 13-metre penalty. No more at this stage.
Kieran Kilkenny's free. Bernard Brogan in under it. Was he being held as the ball came in? A bit of a collision, and Bernard Brogan spinning, turning, and we've seen that before. He missed the goal, but the eye is certainly in. 2 points for him, both from play. Level pegging after 15 and a half minutes.
Look at the reaction when he gets the ball, spins away on his left instinctively, and his accuracy is there to see. He's going well. That's not a good sign for the Kerry defence, in which there's 4 newcomers, and now they know that they have Brogan now on fire, really flying it.
Michael Darragh Macaulay did well to get that off Anthony Marr. It seemed like the Kerry man was in charge. Macaulay brings Keane O'Sullivan in, he bursts onto it at pace, just lost the ball but free in, he was fouled. Shane Enright not happy with the referee's decision.
Well, there's no question, it's absolutely a free. Lovely line of running, and there he's taken out there. That is a free in. We spoke about that in the quarter-final.
Philly McMahon, we think, yeah, there he is wearing 22, is going to come in to that Dublin full back line. Will it be O'Brien? Will it be Cooper? Will this be a point for Bernard Brogan to nudge Dublin back in front? 1-3 they've scored since Donncha Walsh's goal.
Well, it's just outstanding stuff, end to end. 1 minute it's swinging the way of the kingdom, back come the Dubs, and if they can keep this pace, and I suppose that's a reasonable point, Darragh, to make, this is not the pace that Kerry would want to be playing their opening quarter at.
Philly McMahon for Kevin O'Brien, who we mentioned earlier on was having serious issues with James O'Donoghue. And Philly McMahon has gone on to pick up Darren O'Sullivan, and it's Johnny Cooper who's marking James O'Donoghue. Dublin with the last 4 scores, Kerry with a free for a push. Tomas O'Shea, bothered by a hamstring injury in the build-up to this game. Here's Colin Cooper. He's got away again. O'Carroll backs off, and Colin Cooper allowed to go unhindered. And Cooper just never going to miss from there to bring Kerry level. But the Dublin defence in reverse, and nobody went near Cooper.
Well, Declan, you can see, is trying to stop the quick kick-outs. And that's the problem that O'Carroll has, Rory O'Carroll has. It has to be said, in Cooper's last one, he was going to give the inside pass to Declan O'Sullivan, but he took a lot of steps before he finished that ball over the bar. But the referee will have to take control. They're stopping the Kerry. That's the Dublin quick kick-out strategy. They're putting a man in front of the ball, not on.
And they want Kerry to kick the ball as long as possible. And the referee going in to talk to his umpire behind the Hill 16 goal, or one of the umpires, now both of them.
This isn't the first time off camera they've been doing it as well.
Tuxton with the kick out to Cooper, and he's not outside the 20-metre line, and that Kerry pressure paying off, and they're knocking Dublin off their stride in any way they can. Cooper was not outside the 20-metre line when the ball was played to him.
Yeah, but worse than this is the turnover now. Essentially, it's a raffle now. The ball is going to be thrown up, and it can go either way.
Anthony Marr, 6'5", Colin Cooper, James O'Donoghue, and O'Donoghue. It's still in play. Here's Donncha Walsh looking for another goal. Walsh dragged down, penalty, Kerry penalty. Stephen Cluxton dragging Donncha Walsh down. The ball coming off the upright. And what's going to happen to Stephen Cluxton? The referee wants a word. Kerry will have a penalty. James O'Donoghue is going to take it. It's just a yellow for Stephen Cluxton.
Watch when it comes off. Donncha Walsh just charges at him here. There it is. Now he is pulled down, there's no question, but he charges straight into him. You know, there's no whole lot else he can do. He never attempts to play the ball, but the Cluxton overreacts. I think no requirement to drag him to the ground like that. There was a lot of bodies around. Another key moment.
And all of this from Kerry putting pressure on Stephen Cluxton, stopping him taking the short kickouts.
Well, Cluxton's effort was ill-advised, was very, very short, hardly 6-7 metres. Here's the penalty.
James O'Donoghue has scored 1 goal already. O'Donoghue, brilliant penalty. What a stunning penalty. Kerry with 3 goals inside 20 minutes. They take charge again and lead by 3.
Well, that was trouble of their own making, but brilliantly executed by James Donoghue. He is on fire, unstoppable at the moment, everything he touches.
3-3 to 1-6. Who would have predicted that? Philly McMahon, the Dublin substitute. Paddy Andrews, confirmation of the card for Stephen Cluxton. Kieran Kilkenny hasn't got too much change out of Fionn Fitzgerald, who's moved over to mark him at centre-back. Johnny Cooper. Kerry getting plenty of players back behind the ball. Mannion's in after it, tricky bounce, it's gone over.
Philly McMahon.
Two points between them.
Yeah, it is a long one.
Yep.
He's not going for the score, of course. Paul Mannion is fighting for the ball as it lands, and on the perfect Croke Park pitch, once it's allowed bounce. Ask a Mayo man about that, he'll tell you it'll go over.
Ball back in play, and that's a lottery around the middle which Dublin have won. Jack McCaffrey. Paddy Andrews once more in that very deep position. Bernard Brogan has his hand pointed up to the sky. He wants it played into him quickly. Andrews now brings Keane O'Sullivan in. Brogan still wants it. Mannion's there. It opens up for O'Sullivan. He got it over the bar.
Well, it's again a massive line. His line of running at the moment is absolutely sensational. Of course, he has the pace. That's another goal chance, but he's driving it over. He'll be happy enough with that.
It's just a shootout. 3-3, 1-8. Kerry leading by a point. Brendan Keeley goes to the same place again. Buckley and Marr close by each other as they normally are in the Kerry kickouts. Here's Paul Galvin. Declan O'Sullivan. Perfect ball for O'Sullivan and a test for Ger Brennan. Darren O'Sullivan has come out to help. Declan O'Sullivan gone down injured. Colin Cooper in closest to goal. Is he in the full forward line now? Great catch from Cooper and a wonderful score from the Gooch. 2 clear.
Well, this is just outstanding stuff. Declan O'Sullivan and the Gooch have swapped positions. You probably noticed that on the diagonal. He just went back door, came off his marker. Now once he has possession, as I've often said, it's too late. The Gooch. And that one just cleared the 20-metre line, that quick kick out.
Johnny Cooper, Rory O'Carroll. Again, there's pressure high up from Kerry. Johnny Cooper pushed off it by Dunica Walsh. Now is Johnny Cooper in significant trouble?
Knee. I think it's the bang when he goes down here, just there.
Yeah.
Tumbles awkwardly.
Ger Brennan. And Paul Flynn, too much to do. Peter Crowley of Kerry, 23 years of age, one of the 4 youngsters in this Kerry defence, and he's been caught and fouled by Paul Flynn. Risky one, but Dunica Walsh has it for Kerry. Jack McCaffrey there with him. And Walsh didn't pick the ball up off the floor. Here's Colin Cooper, surrounded. There have to be free men for Kerry, and there are. And Galvin's got in around the back. Paul Galvin just checking for a player and a teammate in a better position. Declan O'Sullivan, head down as he kicked that one, but dropping it short.
Galvin really should have driven on there. Really surprised he turned back and recycled the ball. He should have flicked it over his left or right.
Dublin not able to, at the moment, produce that swashbuckling football we've seen all year. Philly McMahon scored a point with his last foot pass. There's Paul Mannion, pushed with Shane Enright.
Well, soft enough one. A hand on the back perhaps, but it's a soft one.
Kieran Kilkenny. Keane O'Sullivan. Darren McCauley was a little wide. Paddy Andrews in close to goal, and McCauley just goes past Buckley. He's still going. 2 other Kerry men come across it. He's lost the ball. Good defending from Kerry. Fionn Fitzgerald back to the safety of Brendan Keeley. Now Shane Enright. Anthony Marr. Paul Galvin, seen a lot of it for Kerry. O'Shea. James McCarthy there with him. The referee spotted a foul off the ball. Was there
Darren O'Sullivan,
on Darren O'Sullivan inside the Dublin 45. Declan O'Sullivan. They're getting on with it already. James O'Donoghue for Kerry. And O'Donoghue going past Cooper, and O'Carroll's it again. Point. That full back line looks very brittle.
And look at the quick kick. Everything is at an outrageous pace. I said O'Donoghue is just flying. He's unstoppable at the moment. Again, a lot of steps. Referee gave him the advantage. He might have been fouled over the bar.
Short kick out to Jack McCaffrey, then Johnny Cooper. Pace of this thing is just stunning. Kerry, their total of 3-5. 2-5 has come from play. Ball moved in quickly towards Bernard Brogan. That was asking a lot of him. Good defending from Mark O'Shea. Fionn Fitzgerald. Paddy Andrews beaten by the skill of Fitzgerald. Risky one for Tomas O'Shea, but he secured possession, as has Paul Galvin. Johnny Buckley. Buckley boots it forward. Darren O'Sullivan has got away from Rory O'Carroll. O'Sullivan, he's lightning fast as well. Help from Donncha Walsh. Looking to get a player free. Johnny Buckley had to stay committed. Paul Galvin. Just keep the passing from Kerry is stunning, and Colm Cooper has got another put. No, he's put it wide. I thought that was over. You would expect him to put it over from there. It's surprising he missed. They still lead by 3.
Well, that's how good he is. It's his right foot, and we still think he's infallible even on that. He'll be annoyed with himself. His standards are very high. He'd have expected to get that one.
It was well wide when you look at that replay. James McCarthy having to kick it long, not able to run with it. Dublin free. Here on to Kenny. They haven't been able to get the ball to him as much as they would like, and the bounce beats Paul Mannion. Kenny for his thoughts. Jim Gavin, the Dublin manager.
I think he'd be happy, Dara. Overall, you have to say, when you three shocks like those goals that Kerry put into the back of the Dublin net against the top keeper in the country, they've only conceded one before this.
Well done, Tomas O'Shea. Connolly got there as quick as he could, but not quick enough. Mark O'Shea. Lots of space in front of him. Michael Darragh Macaulay comes to close him down. Darren O'Sullivan with Rory O'Carroll. O'Carroll taller, but O'Sullivan quicker.
But he pulls it out of his hand.
Free Kerry.
That's going to be a free.
Free into Kerry.
Softish enough, but technically correct. Rory O'Carroll's tackling was merely just to pull the ball out of the Gooch's hands. We might get a look at that again, and I'm pretty sure that's the reason for it.
Taking his time, Colm Cooper. Given that, it's come off the post. They scored a goal the last time this happened. Kerry have possession again. Donncha Walsh. And Walsh has got right under that. James O'Donoghue down the bottom of your screen, just punching the air. He was furious the ball wasn't played into it.
Yeah, he came off his man. Well, here it is. There it is. Just pulled out of Darren O'Sullivan's hands. Referee gives the free. Nothing came off it.
Dublin attacking with Michael Darragh Macaulay. Johnny Buckley in front of him. Bernard Brogan has got it in front of Mark O'Shea. Brogan spins round. O'Shea still in front of him. Brogan from a very tricky angle has put it wide. That's their third wide.
And again, when we look at that, you'll see that his jersey was being pulled. He'll be not too pleased that he didn't get the free.
And you saw how quickly Brendan Keeley got the ball back in motion for Kerry. Incredible pace. Shane Enright with a poor pass for Kerry, giving the ball back to Dublin. Michael Darragh Macaulay. Diarmuid Connolly. Conley to Paul Flynn. Tight space, Kieran Kilkenny. Quick shot from Kieran Kilkenny, and the point. Steadies them down again. 3-5-1-9-2 the difference.
Yeah, super score. Beautifully put together. Excellently finished by Kieran Kilkenny. They needed that. That's a settler. Certainly with 5 to go. As I said earlier, I think Jim Gavin will be very pleased. That's only a 2-point game. And on the other side, the Kerry management will be saying, why isn't it more?
Anthony Marr with the clean catch, and then he's fouled. That was Dublin's first point in 8 minutes from Kieran Kilkenny. Paul Galvin taking his time. Cooper was out on the shoulder of James O'Donoghue. Just got it away from the danger area. Colm Cooper sneaking forward now, back into the full forward position as you follow the play with Darren O'Sullivan. Cooper in very close to the Dublin goal. Kerry being precise again. James O'Donoghue. Cooper in a left corner forward position as Darren O'Sullivan decides how best to proceed. Fionn Fitzgerald. Anthony Marr. Patient Kerry. Paul Galvin. Philly McMahon claiming he was fouled and pushed, and the referee spotted it, much to McMahon's relief. He'd stopped.
I don't think he could have missed it because Philly McMahon made it so obvious to the ref he was being fouled. He deserved to get his free though.
Paul Flynn. Ger Brennan. Into that space for James McCarthy to run onto it at pace. That's what they want to do as much as they can, and Anthony Marr fouls him. And is Marr going to see a card?
Well, I think so, because if James McCarthy breaks Anthony Marr's tackle, he's in open country and overlaps. So yeah, a deserved yellow.
Bernard Brogan is going to take the free. Stephen Cluxton is actually out beyond his own 45-metre line. He thought he was going to get the call. Difficult for a left-footed kicker though from that side. So under 3 minutes to half-time, Kerry leading by 2. Brogan doesn't like it.
Well, he got under it completely. Poor contact. The ball just went up in the air, and he just pulled back. And a deserved yellow, no more than that.
Keeley forced long. Who touched that one last? Well, it's a Kerry ball.
I think Darren McCauley, ref would judge to have punched it out over the sideline.
Ger Brennan struggling. Colm Cooper, clever hands back to Paul Galvin. Cooper has a few yards on Ger Brennan. Darren O'Sullivan is there with him. Cooper. Paul Galvin. Donegal Walsh. They've got Tomas O'Shea in some space. Michael Darragh McCauley there with him again. There's a big gap through the middle of that Dublin full back line, but they work with James O'Donoghue. Kerry. Declan O'Sullivan. Forced sideways to Peter Crowley. Paul Galvin. Was he pushed? Referee said no. Here's Peter Crowley. Missed one early, wasn't it? The first scoring chance of the match for Kerry. He put it wide. Anthony Marr. Kerry putting an awful lot into this attack. Declan O'Sullivan going down, claiming he was fouled by Rory O'Carroll. Referee didn't see it that way.
I'll say I didn't see it myself, but I might pick it up on a replay. Darren O'Sullivan is pretty adamant he was fouled, appealing to the umpires.
1 minute to be added on, but Kerry had the ball in hand there for such a long time. And
big defensive lines in front of them though, Dara.
Cian O'Sullivan, oh, he's surrounded by 3 Kerry men. Tried to find Rory O'Carroll there and bother on their own kick out. Free in Kerry. I wonder would Colm Cooper have fancied going on a bit further with that, letting the play develop.
Yeah, that was his instinct, wasn't it? He got up like a flash.
Kick out stats.
Yeah, kick outs 1, 11, 14, 10, 13. Yeah, that's pretty reasonable. They're obviously concentrating on their own kickouts, very much so. I'd like to see the stats on the opposite side, of course. Turn them around. They're not as aggressive on the opposition.
This fella, Johnny Buckley, a very fine free taker. They lead by 2. Oh dear. Sorry, Johnny, that was my fault. Additional time at the end of the first half. Won't do that again.
Well, it's a big miss.
Yeah. 6 Kerry wides. And while Brogan missed a chance to bring them back to within 1, that was to put them 3 clear at half-time. Which, as you said, Kerry will feel they probably should be further in front. Now, big gap between midfield and the Kerry half-back line. Diarmuid Connolly with Tomas O'Shea in front of him. Just a bit edgy. Kieran Kilkenny. Very difficult angle. Mannion will chase it down. But that was a poor decision from Kieran Kilkenny.
Yeah, that's a poor wide. Not his form, it has to be said, but the shot selection there poor. Should have developed it coming up to half-time, bring the ball into context. See, can you generate a free or recycle it into a better position?
Just sum up, Kevin, what we've seen.
Well, just electric start. The goals have been sensational, but I think Dublin will be very pleased with where they are. Kerry will be happy that they're putting the game really to Dublin, but all to play for, no doubt.
Well, James O'Donoghue started things off. 3 Kerry goals inside the first 20 minutes. They scored. Donncha Walsh, O'Donoghue got 2, 1 from the penalty. Mannion's reply was important for Dublin, but it's Kerry who lead at half-time by 3-5 to 1-9. Analysis to come on the far side of this break.
Ulster Bank, your home team, whatever your county colours.
Top architects and interior designers Denise O'Connor and Catherine Crowe are on a mission.
Great design can really, really, really make a massive difference to your life.
They will be helping 6 households with the most common design problems in Irish homes today.
Space, proportion and light, get them right. There's a lot of stuff in this room that doesn't need to be here. And the rooms at the moment are trapped in time, and I think they just need to be updated to reflect the people who are in them.
The Design Doctors starts Thursday at 8:30 on RTE1.
We're the new artists, the new players. We are the next generation. We have passion and ambition. We have potential. We are the entrepreneurs, the restaurateurs. We want to create, to innovate, to rejuvenate. We are the new Ireland.
Freedom comes prepaid with O2.
Liberty Insurance, proud to be the first partner of both hurling and camogie. Huh? Oh! Don't stop me! Don't stop me! Hey, hey, hey! I like it! Have a good time, good time! Oh!
Feel faster, flow faster with Visa. Contactless, online, mobile.
The Aircom Championship Challenge Weekly Quiz. To win match tickets, why not play at experiencemore.ie?
We are at the halfway point in the second of this year's All-Ireland football semi-finals. Kerry leading by 2 points, 3 goals and 5 points to 1 goal and 9 points. Pat Spillane What have you thought of your fellow countymen so far?
Well, I'll tell you this, Michael, that 35 minutes or 37 minutes have redeemed my faith in Gaelic football, because it's been an outstanding exhibition of what the game of Gaelic football is about. This was a game, Gaelic football, that was hijacked for the last 10 years by defensive-minded, negative coaches. All about stopping the opposition by fair or foul means. Last Sunday we saw with James Horton, and today we see with the two teams here, with Jim Gavin's trained team and Eamon Fitzmaurice's trained team. You have two teams here where it's all about a footballing philosophy, where it's about attacking, it's about trying to outscore the opposition. It's not about systems, it's not about negativity. The range of kick passing, just a useless statistic. Dublin kicked past the ball 28 times in that first half. Kerry kicked past the ball 30 times. Do you know what? That's more than the number of kick passes that Tyrone had in the entire game last Sunday. They kicked 26 kick passes last Sunday. So this was a lovely exhibition. Credit to everyone involved, the referee. It's a lovely, high-scoring, free-flowing football. This is what players want to play, Michael. This is what spectators want to come to see. So I compliment them all. And just to look at the Gooch and his vision, and to look at some of the kick passing from Kerry, it was brilliant stuff, Michael.
It's relentless kind of stuff, Colin O'Rourke, is the only way you could describe it.
Yeah, sometimes you have close matches which are exciting and the quality may not be particularly good. In this case, the quality is very, very high, and it's a close, competitive and very sporting game. And in fairness, the referee is doing his best to keep the thing moving. Yeah. The quality of foot passing by Kerry in the first 20 minutes was as good as I have ever seen before. And their movement off the ball and their inside forward play. Brilliant play by the Gooch, James O'Donoghue, Tomás O'Shea, who's the oldest player on the field. Brilliant in that first half. But I think that Dublin will be happy enough. They've been rocked by 3 hammer blows, and it's a bit like getting one from Joe Frazier on Muhammad Ali. They've staggered, but they're knocked down, and I think they're going to come back in the second half.
It is, Joe Brawley, credit to them that they are still right in this game, considering those goals that Kerry have got, scoring into the hill as well. Let's have a look at the first of them.
Yeah, well, the Dubs are living and dying on this man against man strategy, you know, and they're going to stick with that. And so for the first time in many years, we're able to see Cooper at his best. I mean, he's been like a sort of an expert swordsman, toying with a feisty novice in Ger Brennan. I mean, it's been a terrific display, wonderful vision, passing, two-footed. I mean, he has really been fantastic. And of course, this is the problem. This is the problem with the way the Dubs play, is that they do let you play. So, I mean, Jim Gavin is going to live and die by this strategy. The difference between the teams thus far is that Dublin, for all their extra athleticism and their pace, are creating goal-scoring chances and not taking them. Kerry are creating goal chances and are lethal. And another thing that they've clearly been doing behind closed doors over the last 6 weeks is they've been working on their forward movement. Their forward movement has been exemplary. Diagonal runs, lateral runs, inch-perfect passes. I mean, they really have cut Dublin to pieces. And I have to say now, it's been an absolute privilege to be here to watch it.
And just to prove, Pat, that goal just wasn't something out of the blue, they did it again.
Yeah, again, the key in all of this is the magic of Gooch and his vision. Just watch, I mean, and we saw it earlier on, just a lovely quick pass into Donegal Walsh. And Donegal Walsh, I mean, has been criticised in Kerry for not scoring enough. He scored 3 points the last day against Cavan, and that is as good a finish as you'll get against one of the best goalkeepers around. But look, it's just, you pay the admission fee alone just to watch the magic and the touches of class and the sheer vision and the sheer brilliance of Gooch.
That vision,
the composure,
Dublin,
you know.
Dublin seem to be treating Gooch like Cowboy Joe and hoping the posse will cut him off at the pass. But give him the ball with any type of space, and he's going to pick out a man.
The hill was very quiet for a while after those goals were scored, I can tell you. Time for us to pause again for a little while here at Croke Park. Join us for the second half of Dublin versus Kerry after this break.
The GAA Football All-Ireland Championship, sponsored by SuperValue. We believe in local.
This is a national deal in the national interest. Anybody that doesn't think that the family home is going to be put on the table is dreaming. The tobacco industry must replace.
With all the discussion and all the debate, Primetime returns Thursday at 9:35 on RTE1.
A scholarship to Dublin's Belvedere College could change a student's life.
Will they be able to survive and then thrive?
I think it gave me a real good education.
Part 1 of a 2-part documentary, The Scholarship, Monday at 9:35 on RTE1.
With a family, a mortgage and a car to look after, when it comes to saving money, the one thing I really like about Allianz is their comprehensive online car insurance now starts at only €245.
Call Allianz for a quote on 1890 48 48 48 and for comprehensive online insurance quotes starting at only €245, make sure to visit allianz.ie.
Aircom and the GAA. Experience more.
Lucozade Sport Club Crusade is back, and it's even better. This year, your club will get free match and training kits and clothing in exchange for Lucozade Sport bottle caps. So get your club registered, start collecting those bottle caps and get quality gear for your club. Register your club today at lucozadesport.ie.
The power to rise higher when it counts. The Electric Ireland GAA Minor Championships.
Ulster Bank, your home team, whatever your county colours.
It's a first Clare final for 11 years. This year, it's going to be Cork in the first all-Munster final since 1997. It'll be Davy Fitz versus JBM. It'll be Clare versus Cork. It will be intriguing in September.
Yes, an occasion that always makes the heart beat that little bit faster. The All-Ireland hurling final, Clare versus Cork next Sunday, and we are on the air from 2:15. But at half-time in today's football semi-final, Kerry leading Dublin 3 goals and 5 points to 1 goal and 9 points. We always suspected, Colin O'Rourke, that there would be goals in a game like this. We didn't think there'd be so many after about 20 minutes. We saw Kerry's second goal just before the break. Less than a minute later, 57 seconds in actual fact, the ball was in the Kerry net.
Yeah, well, at that stage, I think Kerry had moved 5 points up, so Dublin needed a response, and a response came very, very quickly. Fantastic ball across the field by Flynn to Diarmuid McConnelly, who hasn't been in the game much. Tomas O'Shea has done a real job on him, and he goes for a point with his left foot, and Paul Mannion, like all good corner forwards, was waiting for the ball to drop short and gets his fist in the Kerry marker, not on him, not as close as he should have been. Connolly had kicked a lovely point with his left foot before this at the start of the game, and probably assumed that he'd do the same again. But a good corner forward. Mannion has been brilliant all year, and again he's a goal scorer.
Actually, what it highlights is the flaw in Kerry's play that was also shown in the second half against Cork in the Munster final, that when the ball was kicked in high, this Kerry full back line is not commanding under the high ball. But credit to Dublin in that half, they showed great character. In the space of 4 minutes, Michael, they came from 5 points down to be a point ahead. They scored 1-4 without reply.
There was another goal for Kerry, this one from the penalty spot.
It's just the absolute precision.
And I presume this was a penalty.
Oh, it's definitely a penalty. But it's the absolute precision of Kerry, you know, and it's their composure, precision, coolness against the sort of relentless helter-skelter running game of Dublin. And, you know, the question is now whether or not Dublin will be able to wear them down. The problem being that Cooper and his colleagues are finding lots of space in that Dublin defence, and they're absolutely lethal. So the question is whether or not Kerry can avoid being hemmed in, because there were times in the first half we were looking at it and you could see that Dublin were pushing Kerry back. Kerry were finding it very difficult to get out. But once they do get out and move it over the top of the Dublin defence, they're up and running. I would disagree
about that being a definite penalty. As far as I'm concerned, Donegal charged with the ball initially, straight into Cluxton.
How could he charge in one step?
Cluxton then hauled them down and gave away the penalty. But the initial movement by Walsh,
like the big
charge.
I don't think it was. But the big question mark now, Michael, is in the second half. Can Kerry replicate the first half performance in the second half? Because we saw in the Munster final there were 7 points. It was 1-11.
Can they sustain the pace?
It was can they sustain the pace? There were 7 points up against Cork and lost the second half on the score of 11-6 against Cavan the last day, comfortably ahead at half time. Lost the second half against Cavan 7-5. So, like Joe says, can they sustain the pace?
Can they sustain the pace? Because the thing about that first half is they were forcing the pace. They were taking quick frees. They looked like the team that had the pace and wanted to exploit it.
I think the game was 100 miles an hour for the first 20 minutes. I think there was a noticeable drop in pace for the last 10 or 15 minutes of the half, because I don't think anybody can keep up the pace. We also have to remember now, Dublin are going to look for the 5th Cavalry in the subs, and they'll bring on Bastick and McManaman and Dean Rock and players like this. Now, of course, Kerry have Brian Sheehan and Dennis Moran or David Moran and Owen Brosnan. They could bring those on, but I think the balance of advantage in subs is on the Dublin side. Yeah. The big imponderable for me is when Kerry bring on Donaghy, and where did they put him?
Yes.
And I think that if Kerry are doing their homework right and they see what happened in the first half, they'll put him in there on the edge of the square and put in a few high balls. I know that Kerry have had a lot of value from the low, quick ball inside, but in the second half of the Munster final and against Cavan, that whole game dried up.
So are you suggesting that what they should do is change tack for the second half?
I want an alternative type of thing. This is not going to work all the time.
Why would you in circumstances where Kerry are playing with such economy up front, their movement is brilliant, every time they get the ball they're threatening a goal, why would you change tactics at this point?
Because by bringing on
Kieran, the problem with Kieran is that Kieran's a roadblock in front of the goals.
When you bring on
he's great if he's flicking down.
When you bring on Kieran Donaghy, it means your game plan is completely altered. Kerry's game plan in that first half was like the first half against Cork, where quick ball, angles of rolling brilliant, great variety in the attack and great support play. If Donaghy is brought in, you know what, a blind man could play in the full back line because he knows the ball is going to come in high under Donaghy. The unfortunate thing about Donaghy, as we saw against Cavan, he's lost a bit of pace and his first touch is poor. So I'll stick with the winning formula for as long as possible.
Joe, let's come back to Dublin, because you were making the point before the match about Dublin's creating chances but not taking them.
Squandering. Squanderlust.
And there was an example of it here again. They looked like they could score at will, and yet they had one goal. But
I said beforehand, this is a big game, and you can't be wasting chances like this. Michael Darragh McCauley's clean through. He drops his head and he puts it in the net, or he knocks it across to the other side of the square. And it's an easy goal. I mean, here again, this has got to go in the net. Let me put it to you this way, Michael.
That was close.
If that's Colm Cooper, no, close is no good. If that's Colm Cooper or James O'Donoghue, the ball is in the net. And that's the difference at this level. So against lesser teams, Dublin can overwhelm them, and even though they're missing 80% of their goal chances, they can still win the game. They can't do it at this higher level.
But
it's a huge sort of test for them in the second half.
Dublin is not scoring. Dublin have scored a goal in 9 points, which is a great score in any game. The problem for Dublin is their defence. They're leaking goals, and they all have been showing throughout the championship. A big problem in the Dublin defence, and it hasn't been solved.
I agree, Colm. And
I think that Dublin should be taken off Ger Brennan. If I want to say what's going to be happening, I think he's in big trouble there in the Dublin defence. I think they took off the wrong man.
Both teams back. Attendance of 81,553 here today, by the way. Now, after today's semi-final, watch out for a great competition here on the programme, a chance for you to win a brand new car, and you could drive yourself in style to this year's All-Ireland final. But who will it be? Let's find out with Darragh Maloney and Kevin McStay.
Michael, thank you. Well, we are looking at Dennis Bastick wearing number 17 coming out for Dublin for the start of the second half, and Cian O'Sullivan has gone to centre-back to mark Colm Cooper, which means that Ger Brennan has been taken off the Dublin team for the second half. The last time Kerry scored 3 goals against Dublin in a championship match was the 1979 All-Ireland final. That attendance, 81,553. I want to know where the other 47 people are. It has been brilliant football and all to play for, with Kerry leading by 2 as the second half begins. 15 of the 18 scores we've had so far in this All-Ireland semi-final have been from play. Pressure on the Dublin full-back line already. There was a push free to Dublin. Michael Darragh McCauley, Jack McCaffrey, and Paul Flynn. Route 1 in towards Bernard Brogan. Good hand from Mark O'Shea in there. The ball squirts loose on O'Shea, just pulling on it. James McCarthy is pushed up from right half back to join the attackers. Paddy Andrews. McCarthy was booked in the first half, and that was a poor pass into a pretty congested area of the field. Kerry get the ball into space. Donncha Walsh. It's Mark Griffin. Oh, Griffin caught by Dermot Connolly. He's gone down, touching his right shoulder.
He's lucky he caught him in the chest or that area, because if he gets that any higher, that is real damage. And so you're looking at yellow card country here. Bit of rough play.
Cormac Riley took his time, but it is yellow for Connolly. Took his time before revealing the card. Third Dublin player to be booked. Stephen Cluxton, James McCarthy, the other two.
We were just talking about Dara goal chances interest. I was listening very carefully to Joe on the goal chances. 66% conversion rate for the chances for Dublin, 50% conversion rate for Kerry. So that one, stats and stats and stats.
Colin Cooper getting out in front of Keane O'Sullivan. Dennis Bastick back after him. Here's Johnny Buckley for Kerry. Declan O'Sullivan now. Angle not great for him. The shot wasn't great. Can't believe he missed that.
Very unlike him.
Yeah, 7 wides now for Kerry.
Stephen Cluxton waves it wide, but you can never believe goalkeepers these days. The wave, even the ones between the posts, the wave them wide. And another yellow.
Johnny Cooper this time. For something off the ball.
Look how hard they're working on the Cluxton kick-out, giving them very few options. And there's the turnover.
Yeah, it was for Paul Flynn, yard or two away. Here's Anthony Marr for Kerry, looking for the first score of the second half. Here's Declan O'Sullivan, Darren O'Sullivan, I beg your pardon. Now it's James O'Donoghue, no, it's Crowley, and now it's Paul Galvin, and Galvin slots that over. After Declan O'Sullivan's miss, Paul Galvin for Kerry. They lead by 3, first score of the second half.
Well, it's a goal chance, except Darren O'Sullivan's first touch is a poor one. They recycle it in the minimum, they have to get something out of it, and Paul Galvin ensures they do. They get the point.
3-6 to 1-9. Kerry with the ball off Cluxton's kick out. Anthony Marr angling that out. Push by Declan O'Sullivan on Rory O'Carroll. He's playing on, but the referee has blown the whistle.
Will these pushes always be called Derby-esque type pushes? A little bit of contact. Referee got that one right, in my opinion.
Paul Flynn getting free. Dublin, that's for Paddy Andrews and Kieran Kilkenny to go after. Kerry's Mark Griffin there.
I think that's a Dublin ball.
Signalled as Kerry.
I certainly would like to see that one again from this position. It looked Dublin. Well, that is certainly a Dublin ball. Goes off the number 4, Shane Enright.
Dublin have possession back anyway with Dermot Connolly. Johnny Cooper. Johnny Buckley. Connolly sent it out to Paddy Andrews. Michael Darragh Macaulay gave him an option. James McCarthy just pushes forward. Andrews. Dennis Bastick. Bastick launches that in. Not a good decision. Easy catch for Brendan Keeley, the Kerry goalkeeper. Look where James O'Donoghue is. Mark O'Shea. Shane Enright. And Fionn Fitzgerald. Enright. Donncha Walsh claims that was touched on the ground by the Kerry wing forward. Clever little hand pass.
That's off the ground.
So that was picked up by Peter Crowley. Paul Mannion. Bernard Brogan. Scored 3 points in the first half, 2 of them were from play. Kieran Kilkenny. Dennis Bastic couldn't hold back. Kieran Kilkenny back on it. Now Bernard Brogan with the snapshot, kicking into Hill 16, nailed it. Very fine point from Bernard Brogan. The signs are there, he's just bubbling. 2 between them. Kerry lead 3-6 to 110.
Well, he's tidied it up neatly. First a poor pass by Kieran Kilkenny. An excellent work by Dennis Bastic in the physical stakes, and then Bernard tidies it all up, as you said, with that lovely snapshot right between the posts.
And Sean Fitzgerald, Kerry taking a lot out of it. Brendan Keeley, Mark O'Shea. To Tomas, setting off at full tilt, that familiar stride. Philly McMahon was fouling James O'Donoghue. Philly not impressed. James O'Donoghue rather happy the decision went his way. Here it is again.
Well, I've seen those ones being let go on, but for dissent, now it's a very easy one, isn't it?
It is for Colm Cooper. And the referee
is going in after Philly McMahon, isn't he?
Yeah, and McMahon is in standing on the goal line alongside Stephen Cluxton. And this yellow card count is mounting, so a yellow for Philly McMahon. 5 Dublin players on yellows, and they are about to make a substitution. Dean Rock is going to see some game time any minute as Colm Cooper slots over the free for Kerry, outscoring Dublin by 2-1 since the match restarted. It's Kieran Kilkenny who's going off the Dublin team. It has been a frustrating match for him. And Dean Rock has scored 2 points in each of the 4 games he's played in this year's championship. Hasn't started but a sub in the 4 previous games and chipped in with 2 in each match. Stephen Cluxton frustrated with his kick out. It's gone against Dublin, and now it's Darren O'Sullivan to Declan. Johnny Cooper there behind him. Donncha Walsh and Darren O'Sullivan. Paul Galvin to his left. Here is Galvin, just chipping it and over the bar. Well worked score from Kerry.
And again, Dara, they are attacking the Cluxton kick out with serious aggression. This was flagged. They were very successful in 11 and in 09 doing this, and they're getting real returns from it.
Well, right down the middle from Stephen Cluxton, and he's found his man, Diarmuid Connolly. Kerry with a healthy lead. Dublin with just 1 point since the match restarted. Paddy Andrews, Bernard Brogan and Paul Mannion screaming for the ball particularly, and it goes up to Mannion with Shane Enright behind him. Will want it on his left boot, and help from McCaffrey. Mannion still going. Here's Dean Rock from a very tricky angle. Rock, and there's his first point. He's only on the field about a minute, making a point to his manager. He was close to the starting team against Cork. This wasn't easy. Fine score.
Well, that is a great score. Serious accuracy involved there. There was a clamour for his name on the starting 15 all week. Didn't make it, and now he has something to prove, and that's a great start.
And Brendan Keeley towards Anthony Marr, couldn't hang on to it. Peter Crowley could. Sean Fitzgerald, very tidy footballer. Breaks well for Philly McMahon. Cian O'Sullivan. Paddy Andrews. Good pace about it. Great defending from Shane Enright, getting his right hand in there ahead of Paul Mannion.
Mannion didn't wait it for the ball. He should have driven onto the ball, waited for the ball to come to him. Kerry defender nipped in.
Kerry dominating possession so far in the second half. That's Mark O'Shea in all sorts of bother, but he was fouled. taking the ball out of Dublin hands. John Fitzgerald plays his club football with Dr. Croke. Declan O'Sullivan. Tomas O'Shea. Colin Cooper to his left. In front of him is Darren O'Sullivan. Now in possession, nobody on the 20-metre line. O'Sullivan very good in these tight areas, and Darren O'Sullivan has got through. O'Sullivan goes with the fist, just wide.
Now that could be a big wide, because as you know, it's a 3-point game. If he gets a minimum of a point out of this, and he nearly does, ends up a wide.
Now a different kick-out strike. McConnelly running onto it at pace, open road in front, Rock to his right. Dear McConnelly taking it into the tackle. Bernard Brogan now, Brogan! Easy save for Brendan Keeley. Dean Rock was screaming for the ball to be played to him, and Dermot Connolly held on to it and went himself, and they get no score out of the attack.
Well, you summarised that one absolutely perfectly. Should have moved the ball, but didn't.
Dean Rock was brave. Here's Michael Dara McCauley. Goes past the first challenge of Griffin. McCauley needs some help. He's got a free in, has he? Yes, he has, on the 13-metre line. 3 between them. Peter Crowley in trouble. Yellow for the Kerry centre-back.
It must be said, Dara, in the last few minutes, a few balls where Kerry defenders had to stretch. They were looking well tired to me. Tomas O'Shea was trying to catch up with Dermot Connie that time, no chance of it.
Bernard Brogan sends that over and brings them back to within 2.
Well, there it is. This is the foul coming up, just pulled to the ground by Peter Crowley.
Mark Griffin has an issue. They're going to have to bring on a blood sub for the Kerry fullback. And the first time in a while that the Dublin fans have been heard singing at that volume.
It's Owen Brosnan.
Owen Brosnan for Mark Griffin for a little while. And Brendan Keeley gets the ball back in play towards Anthony Marr. Dennis Bastick got hands on that. Jack McCaffrey, here he goes, and listen to the roar around the place. McCaffrey is going to need some help. He has it in the shape of Paddy Andrews. Paul Mannion's looking for it. Andrews has got space, takes on the shot. Back to within 1. They've got the last 3 points of this All-Ireland semi-final. And the next 10 minutes of this, absolutely crucial. Kerry lead by 1.
Well, we've a game now, haven't we? The ball breaks, and again you can see Jack McCaffrey's extra bit of pace gets him onto the ball. This is a key period now for the Kingdom. They have to consolidate and slow it down some way or other.
They've put a huge effort into getting themselves into this position, Kerry, on the scoreboard. All those periods of holding onto the ball, will they take their toll as the minutes tick away? Dublin have it off Keeley's kick-out. Paul Flynn, different sort of performance from him today. Here's Bernard Brogan. McCarthy had got free. Bernard Brogan, that's right out of the sweet spot, and his eye is very definitely in, and they're level for the 4th time. They were 4 in arrears at one point during this second half. They've got the last 4 to move level with 20 minutes remaining.
Well, it's going to be a long 20 minutes, but look at the game, perfectly poised, and you have to take your hat off to Bernard Brogan. In all fairness, Dara, he's putting in a tremendous performance. We said he was searching for his form in the earlier rounds, in the Leinster final, in the quarter-final, and now he's bang on at the moment.
Kerry are bringing David Moran on for Johnny Buckley. Moran started in the Cavan game, showing well in training by all accounts. Mark Griffin is back on for Kerry. Owen Brosnan leaves the field, so they've reversed that temporary substitution. Bastick getting out in front of Anthony Marr. Very different feel about this semi-final now. Bastick to Paul Mannion. It's to Jack McCaffrey. Tricky angle, this for the lead, and Keeley goes at the fist.
He manages to...
No, he could have caught it. It's back to Dermot Connolly. Connolly slipping just as he wanted to get the shot away. Takes it into the tackle. Back to Bernard Brogan. Dermot Connolly on the right boot for the lead, and he's got it, you know. Super score. 5 without reply for the Leinster champions, and they go in front.
Well, it's brilliantly manufactured between Brogan and Jeremy Connolly, but I just said earlier, sorry for coming across you, Dara, that Brendan Keeley had no need to fist that ball out. It was an easy enough catch over his head. It's cost him the point, and that's the lead for Dublin, as I said, just short of 20 left.
For the first time since the 4th minute.
Oh, what a game. This is sensational stuff, end to end.
The scoring activity in the last 6 minutes. That's the time it's taken them to score those 5 points. Has been all down at the Hill 16 end, but here come Kerry. Colm Cooper launching that in to test out the full back line. Cluxon has gone out, had to win that and had to put it out of play. Did he need to come out there in the first place? But once he got out, he had to make contact with the ball. Line ball, Kerry. And here's the Kerry change, and they now are bringing Owen Brosnan in permanently, and it's Shane Enright who's going off. 19 for 4. Fionn Fitzgerald has gone back into the Kerry full back line. Brosnan will play in the Kerry half back line.
And in that last ball that went on, it has to be said that David Moran was the man that came up with a good substitution, a bit of energy, a bit of movement, a bit more mobility into the middle 8 for the Kerry guys.
The star will be in shortly with a big point to prove to his manager, and a big part to play, you feel, in the remaining minutes of this All-Ireland semi-final. Dermot Connolly, James McCarthy, Dean Rock for Bernard Brogan. He's isolated with Mark O'Shea. Brogan, O'Shea holding him up fairly, and they've figured out that problem. Fionn Fitzgerald, quick thinking from Fitzgerald, back to Brendan Keeley. Referee calls a halt. Dublin man down injured. A bit of stuff off the ball as well, but that has calmed down. And now is the moment for Kieran Donaghy to replace Paul Galvin. Bernard Brogan still receiving treatment, and Kieran Donaghy going in at full forward to renew acquaintances with Rory O'Carroll. In the second half, Dublin have outscored Kerry by 6 points to 3. Here's Michael Darragh McCauley. Bernard Brogan was unmarked momentarily, but now he's been covered. Here's Paddy Andrews, Dean Rock, Paul Mannion now. Mannion gets his shot away. They lead by 1, and it stays a 1-point lead. He missed that by quite a distance. 6th wide, first of the second half for Dublin. They have been ruthless in front of goal, and that is a breakdown in Kerry's kick-out strategy as they head towards 11 minutes since their last score. Dublin 6 without reply in that.
Oh, big call.
Mannion penalised for playing it on the ground.
Yeah, absolutely, but I must say, the honesty with which all the players are going for the ball, it is absolutely terrific stuff. Every ball is a battle. Everyone is giving it their full attention, full honesty going for it, and if the frees go against you, they just get up and get on.
Tomás O'Shea, Fionn Fitzgerald was caught a fraction late as he played that ball out. David Moran took his eyes off that. Here's Donncha Walsh. Michael Darragh McCauley with him, tried the tackle, it didn't work. Jack McCaffrey there as well. Here's Darren O'Sullivan, those dancing feet, and they've thrown the ball away in towards Donaghy. James O'Donoghue now, surrounded by 4 Dublin players. Ball squirts out the back, here's the gooch, and he's been brought down, and Johnny Cooper is on a yellow card, remember, and Cooper, well, one Cooper fell the other.
Well, if it was Cooper, he's got lucky, because Cormac Riley hasn't spotted it. I wasn't 100% it was Cooper. You've a very keen eye, Dara. But the action was flying. The ball breaks out. Oh, indeed it was. Yeah. Well spotted. Well, that's double yellow, and he should be gone. He's very, very lucky.
And Colm Cooper is down receiving treatment. But we've had a catalogue of huge moments in this game. That's another one.
Yeah. And in the full debate of what we've had in recent weeks, it's only fair to say that that is in the very cynical category too. You know, we went after Sean Kavanagh to a certain degree when he hauled down a man. The Gooch is on the chip lift there. He's clean through for a goal. And Cooper puts out his foot. And not only that, to add insult to injury from the Kerry perspective, he doesn't get the yellow, he stays on the field.
A very interested spectator. They're here, back here on the 22nd of September. The Mayo manager James Horan, what will he and what does he make of all of this? He's enjoying it. Teams have been level 4 times and they're taking great care over this treatment for Colm Cooper.
Was it his jaw area they were looking at as they lifted him up very gingerly? Maybe got another trailing knee or something like that. He looks rattled, doesn't he?
He does. Yeah, and I think he wants James O'Donoghue to take the free. Oh, he got caught by Philly McMahon as he was lying on the ground.
Was that a trailing leg?
There was
or more? Very hard to know.
Coming together there. And that's well, that explains why they took such great care over the treatment for Colm Cooper, and he actually is going to take the free himself.
They say you should never let the injured man take the free, but I'll make an exception in Gooch's case.
All day. Stolen a yard or two and slots that over and brings Kerry level. It's their first point in quite a while, since the 45th minute.
And it's level pegging again, and the short kick out and just gets away with it, Philly McMahon.
1:15:39. Here's Keane O'Sullivan, Dean Rock, Jack McCaffrey. And McCaffrey launching that in. Brendan Keeley out after it. Safe pair of hands. Brogan closes him down. He needs some assistance, the Kerry goalkeeper. He's got it. Mark O'Shea. John Fitzgerald. Anthony Marr. David Moran took a fair bit of time, that ball, to get across to his chest. Owen Brosnan, Declan O'Sullivan, Kieran Donaghy in closest to the Dublin goal. Now look at Tomas O'Shea, 35 years young, running right up there with Declan O'Sullivan. O'Shea steadies down. He's got under that though, but Donaghy may be able to make something out of it. Big battle with Rory O'Carroll, Donaghy in after it. And now Johnny Cooper picks up the loose ball for Dublin. Michael Dara McCauley. Paddy Andrews. This thing's stretching out as we head into the last 10 minutes. They are level. They've been level 5 times in this All-Ireland semi-final. Bernard Brogan out in front now. Dean Rock didn't catch that one. He's got one. Has to wait longer for his second.
Got that one. I was very impressed with his opening 10 minutes. So he came on doing everything well, but that will go down as a big miss.
Keane O'Sullivan got out in front of Declan O'Sullivan very easily. Dermot Connolly. Now Johnny Cooper. Cooper from cornerback, missed it. It's only their second wide of the second half. 7 in total, and Dublin bringing Owen O'Gara in for Paul Mannion.
Well, we certainly, from a Dublin perspective, wouldn't have wanted Johnny Cooper shooting. I don't know what his stats are for the championship. I was concentrating on the attackers, but he approached that and kicked it very much like a cornerback, and a big miss.
Hadn't scored. Still hasn't. Paddy Andrews. Owen O'Gara. Dean Rock is up there with him. Rock on his right foot this time. Over it goes. Dublin back in front, heading into the final 10 minutes of the second All-Ireland semi-final.
Well played by O'Gara. Well, Rock is just brilliant at these. He puts them up over his left shoulder, like they're against his good foot. He's on a kit-dog side, and he's just swinging them over like the posts are 20 metres wide.
He continues his run of 2 points per appearance in this year's championship. That's a Dublin line ball. They look pretty calm at the moment, Jim Gavin and his selectors.
Oh, he's got away with that. They're going to let him have another go, but Paul Flynn sliced it so badly. He may have broken the line. This is a big moment.
Going to throw the ball in. Cormac Riley.
That's what's happened.
For the sideline infringement. Aidan O'Mahony is warming up for Kerry. Owen Brosnan. Donaghy's coming out towards it. Philly McMahon fisting that out to Dennis Bastick.
Could have got anywhere.
Keane O'Sullivan. Dublin have a 1-point lead. This match has had absolutely everything, including poor passes from Keane O'Sullivan. Donaghy out around midfield now. David Moran for Colm Cooper in the Kerry full forward line. Runners arriving. James O'Donoghue. O'Donoghue on a hat-trick of goals, takes the point and over it goes. To bring them level yet again. 6th time.
I must say I'd have a problem with Keane O'Sullivan's turnover. Looked to me like his hand was held back. The point came off that. Keane O'Sullivan was trying to execute a simple hand pass, and his holding hand was pulled from under him.
Mark Griffin being replaced, as you saw, by Aidan O'Mahony. Another experienced man, very experienced man that Eamon Fitzmaurice can bring in. Where's the kick out going? Dennis Bastick is the answer, but Kerry have got it back. Declan O'Sullivan skips away from the challenge. Colm Cooper. Darren O'Sullivan. Now, possibilities for Kerry. O'Sullivan weaving one way, then the other, and slots it over, and Kerry go back in front. 2 unanswered points from Kerry, and they lead by 1, 3-11, 1-16.
This is just great stuff. This is just great stuff. One ball in, one ball out, scores. It's got everything, absolutely everything. And now the lead is back with Kerry.
Billy McMahon sauntering forward for Dublin. That could work out well. Paul Flynn. Bernard Brogan further out this time. Brogan. The shootout continues, but he's put that one wide. Kerry's 1-point lead still intact. That was Dublin's 29th scoring chance. They've kicked 8 wides.
Thought Brogan might just take on his defender there. Here's the Darren O'Sullivan earlier on. Lovely little flick pass from Cooper. Deadly accuracy on the Kitog from Darren O'Sullivan. He's been very busy all day too. But in the last sequence we had Bernard Brogan getting the ball in. Really good position. But the one thing he hasn't done today is take on Mark O'Shea. I think it's out of respect for how brilliant a defender O'Shea is. And he snatched somewhat at it at a crucial stage in the game. But still 7 minutes left.
And a Kerry man down injured. The break in play will be welcomed by Kerry. Kevin McMenamin, remember the impression he made when coming on as a substitute in the 2011 All-Ireland final. We haven't even spoken about the revenge issue for Kerry. They felt they left that after them that day by 4 points with 6 minutes to go.
He made a bit of an impression, all right.
Kerry with a 1-point lead, written off by many in the build-up to this game after some indifferent performances, and there's been no second-half fade-out from the Munster champions as there was against Cavan, as there was against Cork, as there was against Tyrone in the league.
I think Dennis Bastick might have casually picked that up off the ground.
Now, there's a bit of a schmozzle broken out close to the Dublin goal. James O'Donoghue and Kieran Donaghy getting to know Philly McMahon and Rory O'Carroll. Dublin about to make their 5th and final substitution, and what has the referee, what is he going to hear when he speaks to the 2 umpires? Philly McMahon was involved. Bernard Brogan is being replaced by Kevin McMenamin. Those consultations continue with Cormac Riley, the referee. The notebook is coming out.
Rory O'Carroll was involved too, I think, wasn't he?
Rory O'Carroll and Kieran Donaghy. A yellow each. Yeah. Here's why.
It should be added. There's no ball there.
Yeah. Kind of important. Tomas O'Shea launches that up high. Donaghy goes after it with Rory O'Carroll. Good fist from the Dublin fullback James McCarthy. He's fouled. Dublin haven't scored at 5 minutes. Kerry have got the last 2. They're going to make their final change. Jack Sherwood, 21 he wears, and he replaces Peter Crowley. Sherwood's championship debut. Played in the league. What a stage for him to come into. In Croke Park at this late stage. Here's Kevin McManaman, that familiar running style. He has to go back from Sherwood. McManaman on his left boot, and he's missed it, and missed it by quite a distance. 2 successive wides from Dublin, one from Bernard Brogan, who's no longer on the field. There's the man who replaced him, Kevin McManaman. 9 total. Kerry still lead by 1.
And those few substitutions and the yellow cards, the clock has been ticking away all this while, and we've just over 3.5 minutes left, and this is going to make it very, very tense and very, very tight for the grand finish.
1977, the last time Dublin managed successive wins over Kerry in the championship. Dennis Bastick with possession for Dublin. Paddy Andrews having to go wide, and Paddy Andrews dragged back. Referee gives the free. Now there's no Bernard Brogan on the field to take the free. Will they bring Stephen Cluxton forward to do this? And that is Jack Sherwood, the new man in, who's got a yellow card for his challenge. Cluxton is going forward. Dermot Connolly has the ball in his hands at the moment. The Dublin supporters here in Croke Park cannot look. Connolly wants to take it. Cluxton out of picture, is now on halfway. Dermot Connolly happy that he wants to take the free.
And it's his weaker foot.
On his weaker left boot. Connolly.
Oh, that's terrific.
Put it over. That's a huge kick from Dermot Connolly. Level a 7th time. 20 points apiece. 3-11, 1-17. It's just stunning stuff. Dublin with possession. Jack McCaffrey hauled down.
What about Cluxton now, Dara? Oh no! Oh,
the referee has reversed the decision. Dublin had a free. Jack McCaffrey.
But don't know why the reversal. Did he say play on and he stood up?
Maybe.
And he overcarried. Yeah, maybe he didn't give a free the first time.
Something to clarify afterwards. Here's Declan O'Sullivan, the sides level in this incredible All-Ireland football semi-final. James O'Donoghue had an incredible first half. O'Donoghue, angle tricky. Bastick got a hand in. Here's Kieran Donaghy. Now Declan O'Sullivan. Declan O'Sullivan for Kerry. It's on its way. But it's wide. It's wide. Missing it on the near side. It looked good initially. It stays a draw game.
This is all about the next ball, Dara.
Kerry have put pressure on Stephen Cluxton all afternoon from these kicks. Nothing has been easy for the Dublin team to secure their own ball. It's belted long by Cluxton, and it's going to be a Kerry ball, is it? Michael Darragh-Macaulay, brilliant. Here's Kevin McManaman. Memories of 2011 as he burst through. The sides are level. McManaman still going. He goes! He's done it again! Could have taken the point. What a goal from Kevin McManaman. He spotted Keeley off his line, and is that the move that takes Dublin to the All-Ireland final?
Well, what a effort by Darragh-Macaulay. Dara, I think he actually does go for the point here. I stand correct. Yes, I believe he did. Miskicked it, but it floated over the head of Brendan Keeley. What a goal!
He's the ultimate super sub against Kerry, Kevin McManaman. They lead by 3, and there will be 3 added minutes. Is there time for Kerry to come back from that sucker punch? 2-17, 3-11. It's been the game of the year, maybe the game of the decade by some distance. Cian O'Sullivan for Dublin. Michael Darragh-Macaulay. Paul Flynn, McManaman. Now it's Dublin's turn to keep possession. They were on the ropes during the first half. Kerry hit them so hard. Here's Dermot Connolly. Connolly for Dublin, put his foot right through it, raises his arm into the sky. He knew from the moment he kicked it that it was over. It's a 4-point lead, and And is this over? You wouldn't think so, with all the drama we've had all the way through. 2:18, 3:11. Owen Brosnan. Donaghy's in, looking after that. That's Paul Flynn, operating as, well, almost another fullback. Stephen Cluxton. And Cluxton wants to play football. And he's been caught by Anthony Marr and goes down crushing his face. Paul Flynn has gone in to play as goalkeeper. Dennis Bastick punching the ball and firing it up into space. Fionn Fitzgerald. Brendan Keeley on his own 45-metre line. 3 minutes of added time, 2 left. Mark O'Shea. These guys, some of the greats of Gaelic football, have given it the whole lot. Darren O'Sullivan, and that's in for Kieran Donaghy. O'Carroll there with it. Dublin's defence breached 3 times, not a fourth. Kevin McManaman dragged back by James O'Donoghue, and a chance for them just to calm things down and kill it. Anthony Marr.
Second yellow.
Kerry down to 14. That was for his challenge on Stephen Cluxton.
Kerry are still going after this. There's a lot of movement. They haven't thrown in the towel. Was it 3 minutes, Dara? I think I heard you say.
Yeah, it was just a few seconds of that left, and Dublin have the ball. They were pushed and pushed and pushed. They knew they would be. But Kevin McManaman's goal has flipped this thing right on its head. 40 seconds remaining. Kerry had the lead not so long ago. Then it was level. Then McManaman did his stuff. Aidan O'Mahony. And that's gone out over the line. He looks like the calmest man in Croke Park, Jim Gavin.
Oh God, if he is, there's something not working.
Michael Dara McCauley. For the icing on the cake, he has been absolutely fantastic. They're in here on the back. O'Gara goal! Rock just made sure it may have crossed the line in the first instance. I think it did. O'Gara will get the goal, and that is the icing on the cake. And Jim Gavin, in his first year in charge of the Dublin senior footballers,
it's all over.
Has brought his team to this, and they are in the All-Ireland final. It was over the line. They've got 3 goals of their own, 3:18 to 3:11.
Oh, what a game.
7 points, and what a stunning game of Gaelic football we have witnessed. It ends in bitter disappointment for Kerry. They gave it absolutely all they could, but McManaman, his introduction was late in the second half.
Yeah. It was terrific stuff, you have to say, end to end. Hard to believe the final score shows 7 points of a differential between the two teams. It was never that. But McManaman, we said he made a bit of an impression in 11, made another big one today.
His goal was in the 70th minute of this All-Ireland semi-final. Huge disappointment for the great Colm Cooper. There is the full-time score. 3:18 to Dublin, Kerry 3:11. Well, Stephen Cluxton didn't have to intervene with that Connolly free.
That was a big point, wasn't it? Oh, really ballsy shot from Jeremy Connolly. Showed a lot of character because it was so key at the time. McManaman's effort, I really look forward to seeing it tonight on the Sunday game, what the lads make of it. I thought he went for the point. It was the clever thing to do because it would have made a huge difference. But I think he slightly miskicked it, and it just beat the goalie. The flight of it ended up in the net.
Brendan Keeley, the Kerry goalkeeper, was a little off his line. It's the first time since 1977 that Dublin have managed back-to-back wins over Kerry in the championship. It's only their 8th victory, and today was the 27th meeting of these two great counties. Ger Brennan, who was taken off at half-time,
And didn't they go about it the right way, Dara? What a game we had from both teams. I mean, Dublin have won it the right way, but I have to say Kerry have also lost it the right way, if you know what I'm saying. They went at it just brilliantly honest in everything they went about. Okay, there's the odd little bit of afters and so on, but that's championship cut and thrust. But the scoring, the tempo, everything about it, tremendous, and Dublin march on.
Two heavyweights going toe-to-toe. They did that all afternoon. When you hear about a match having everything, well, I think we have just been privileged to witness it. Incredible football, and the Kerry players have left the field. The last Dublin players leaving. Bernard Dunn with Bernard Brogan. Bernard, a key part of their backroom team. He knows all about being on the ropes and coming through and winning, and that's what they did. Dublin in the second half scored 2-9 with 11 scorers. Kerry in the second half restricted to just 6 points, all from 6 different scorers. Let's get some reaction, and this man has done it again for Dublin. Claire.
Kevin, you have done it again, an incredible finish to an incredible game.
Yeah, thanks very much. It was an unbelievable game. I think we were only saying it looking on. It was a great game to watch, and we were begging to be involved, and I only got 7 or 8 minutes, but it was a very strong, powerful finish from the Dublin team, and probably more so the lads like Dean Rock and Owen and Philly Mack that came on. So it's nice to have that bit of unity within the squad that we can push on in the last 10 and finish one off, you know.
Well, you made quite the impact. Talk us through that goal.
I think Mick McCauley did a great fist there. He put his body on the line to get a ball to me, and I just snuck off the back, and I just started running, I suppose. And I thought the defender was going to come to me, but they kind of played half in between myself and the 2 boys in the wing. So I just said, I'll try and aim for the crossbar, and it might sneak under or go over, but we'll get something out of it. So
well, you were pretty determined.
Huh?
You were pretty determined.
Oh, very determined, yeah, absolutely.
What about this game, though? Kerry kept with you right until the end.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they're a fantastic side, and they punched a lot of holes, and we're going to have to learn a lot of lessons from that game if we have any chance of winning the final. I mean, Mayo were deadly last week against Tyrone, especially in probably the last half an hour, last 50 minutes in particular. And they'll get goals against us if we don't probably tighten up a little bit at the back. But it's great to come away with the win when I suppose we didn't probably play as good as we might.
Well, congratulations on your performance, Kevin.
Thanks very much.
Well, congratulations indeed to Kevin McMenamin and to Dublin, and that is what I call a game of football. Colm O'Rourke, did you enjoy that?
This was one of the greatest sporting occasions I've ever been at, but it was also one of the greatest games of football I have ever seen. I think the media oftentimes, and Kerry people in particular, often say when Dublin win a close match, it's always built up into something greater than maybe it was, like the 77 semi-final. This had it all. This was just the most fantastic game anyone could have been, and anyone sitting at home have been privileged to see. It had it all, and I suppose deja vu for Kerry with Kevin McMenamin coming on, but Dublin were the better team. I think we should say that for the start, and I don't think Kerry could have got much more out of the day than they did. And with 68 minutes gone and it was a draw match, I was hoping against hope that there wouldn't be another score and we could see it again. But in the end, the youthful energy of Dublin prevailed, and they sort of overwhelmed Kerry in the end. And unfortunately, it may mean the end of some great Kerry players who's been a great privilege to come to Croke Park to see, and it would be a pity, but they went out in style.
Well, actually, a few minutes from the end, I did say to our floor manager, Brian here, a disappointed Kerry man this evening, check when the replay is. But Joe, there wasn't going to be a replay. Dublin just sealed it out.
The game in the end is about glory. You know, that's a glorious victory, a victory with honour by the Dubs, playing the game the right way, living and dying by their man-to-man strategy, you know, playing a beautiful brand of football and playing with tremendous enthusiasm. And, you know, the message should go out from here. The way the Dubs are playing Gaelic football, that's the way everybody should be coaching it. It's the way everybody should want to play it. Well, you know, I was disappointed, I have to say, in the second half with the repeated cynical fouling by Kerry players, repeated cynical fouling. You know, it's I appreciate.
I didn't see too much of it.
Well, that's not correct. That's not correct.
You're being negative, Joe.
And the point about it is that, you know, we've seen it again today. the sooner the new rule comes in, and the better that men are being sent off. But you'd have to say the courage of Jim Gavin to stick with his convictions at half time, the way they played in the second half. I mean, it truly was hair-raising. I mean, we were standing up and sitting down and standing up. It was a fabulous occasion and a fabulous game of football.
Pat went down, but went down with glory.
It is. I mean, Joe is nitpicking now and being negative, picking out cynical players. Look, let's not be nitpicking. Look, the bottom line, Michael, we saw everything that was great about Gaelic football. Today was an advertisement for the game of Gaelic football, how it should be played. Two teams who set up their stall positively. Joe has been expounding these defensive systems for years that has ruined the game of Gaelic football. Now there is hope, now there is redemption. It was a brilliant, brilliant game of Gaelic football. Brilliant by Dublin, they showed great character, came behind on several occasions. The substitutions made a huge bit, but can I just pay tribute to the Kerry players, because at the end of that game, 7 of those fellas playing started in the 6 in a row All-Ireland titles back in 2009. They owe nothing to Kerry football. We probably won't see their likes again.
And you know what, their manager played in some of those with them. Let's hear his thoughts. Morris.
Eamon, quite a wonderful game, but I don't suppose that's much consolation to you right now, is it?
It's not clear, no, it wasn't. We came up to win today and we just came up just short, so look, we're bitterly disappointed. What can we say? We're going down the country empty-handed, simple as that.
It was quite an electric start, those 3 goals. You looked really, really up for this challenge.
We were up for the challenge. We've been written off pretty much for a lot of the summer, and we wanted to answer, a lot of people today, and most of all we just wanted to play for ourselves and play for the group, and we nearly got there, but just not quite enough in the end.
You came in very much as underdogs. I suppose many people not wondering quite what to expect from you, but it was certainly some performance. I mean, with 5 minutes left, you had your noses in front.
Yeah, it was. The game panned out the way we expected it to pan out. We expected we would get goal chances. The way Dublin played, they do leave themselves open at the back. We felt that we had the forwards to punish that, and that's the way it played out in the first half. But look, they're a serious team. We knew that they were favourites for a reason today, and that same man again broke our hearts 2 years ago. Got the goal again today, and he just it was the difference between the sides.
And I suppose in terms of today, you took some risks as well in your selection. There was a couple of young defenders, I suppose, especially in there with the O'Sheas.
There was, but maybe that point has been missed over the summer. We've a lot of good young lads in the squad as well, and we trust them. We trust every fella that was tagged off there for us today to do a job, and that experience that those lads got playing in front of a full house against Dublin, you can't buy that kind of stuff.
I suppose you broke the pattern of the last couple of games as well, in that you stayed in the game strongly right until the end.
We did, yeah. There was different explanations in the different games for that, but we were confident that we'd be there at the end today, as we were. But we didn't close the deal out. So, like I said, it's not much consolation that we were there at the end. I'd prefer to have had a bit of a fade out and won the game, and that's the way it goes.
You have many very experienced and very decorated players in that team and in this squad. Do you feel that that's maybe the last we'll see of some of them?
I don't know. That's a personal decision for the lads. Today is not a day for thinking about things like that. They've been some of the best players that have ever played the game, never mind played for Kerry. So the lads will have a chill now and think about it. Their dedication and example to the younger players this year was absolutely phenomenal. We couldn't have asked for more off them. So today is not a day to be making decisions like that.
Okay, thank you very much, Eamon.
Okay, Claire.
Gracious Kerry manager Eamon Fitzmaurice. Congratulations though to Dublin on reaching this year's All-Ireland football final. We will have more reaction and analysis when we come back from the break, but before that it is competition time here on the programme. Now, how do you fancy winning a new car and some cash in hand? Well, that is our big competition, and here are the details.
We've teamed up with Opel Ireland, official car partner of the GAA and GPA and proud sponsor of the All-Star Awards, to give you the chance to win a brand new German precision-built 132 Opel Astra. You can choose between the Astra GTC Sport or the Astra 5-door hatchback, both worth over €20,000. Plus there's €1,000 spending money too. For your chance to win a brand new car, answer this. Which of these counties is commonly referred to as the Kingdom? Is it Mayo, Kerry or Tyrone? To enter, call 15 16 71 71 74 or text the word football followed by your answer and name to 57001. Viewers in the north can also text to 57001 or call the number on screen. You must be over 18 to enter. Lines will close at midday on Friday, September 6th. More details on RTE Airtel page 194, where the lucky winner will also be announced.
The Aircom Championship Challenge weekly quiz. To win match tickets, why not play at experiencemore.ie.
After a disappointing result against group rivals Austria, Ireland's World Cup qualification hopes are in the balance.
A lobber shot! And another victory goes up in smoke.
But with everything still to play for, Trapp's men aim to take one step closer to Brazil 2014 against Sweden and Austria. A World Cup qualification doubleheader begins Friday at 7 with the Republic of Ireland versus Sweden on RTE2 and RTE2 HD. At Super Value, we've been showing our customers how they can save with the Super Value range.
I could have saved €38 buying Super Value range. We could have saved over €57 on our shopping.
Yeah, we could have saved €14 in our basket.
We believe in value. Call in and see how easy it is to save with the Super Value range.
At Permanent TSB, we know sensibilities annoy people. So we came up with the new Permanent TSB current account, where if you lodge €1,500 every month, you pay no quarterly fees or any other day-to-day transaction fees. It's one of the simple things we're doing to make banking better. So ditch senseless fees and visit our switch centre today at permanenttsb.ie. It's Permanent TSB. It's back to basics.
Good girl, Phoebe. Nice and calm today. Karen, I've got a cat with no pulse here. I need adrenaline and an IV line. Quick as you can, please.
See you tomorrow.
Eye test now, half price at Specsavers.
We're the new artists, the new poets, the new players. We are the next generation. We have passion and ambition. We have potential. We're the entrepreneurs, the restaurateurs. We want to create, to innovate, to rejuvenate. We are the new Ireland.
Sensitivity is one of those triggers that's telling you that there's something that's not quite right. If you choose to ignore it, well, chances are that is not going to get any better. I recommend Sensodyne Complete Protection. It's going to reduce the sensitivity of a tooth, protect the enamel that helps maintain gum health, keeps your teeth nice and clean and white. Sensodyne Complete Protection is specially designed with 7 benefits. It ticks all the boxes for me. I've tried Sensodyne Complete Protection and it's the one I'm going to recommend to my patients.
At Super Value, we believe in value and in making saving simple with over 2,000 items in our Super Value range. Like Super Value cheese, sliced, grated or block €2. Super Value Irish Creamery butter $2.19, and our sausages are just $1.59. We believe in value. Save every day with the Super Value range.
Right now, get an amazing €20 off the latest pay-as-you-go smartphones when you move to Meteor. Like the Alcatel T-Pop, only $39.99. This exclusive Samsung Galaxy Pocket Neo, only $49.99. Or the Sony Xperia E, just $69.99. Now for our best ever range of smartphones.
The GAA Football All-Ireland Championship, sponsored by Super Value. We believe in local.
It's been Dublin's day here at Croke Park, booking their place in this year's All-Ireland football final against Mayo on September 22nd. All right, lads, let's have a look at some aspects of this game. And Jeannie Mac, there was so much to talk about. But Colm, in the second half, when Kerry were 4 points up, and I actually thought at that stage they were going to stretch on and win this game, they have enough of a little gap, even if the pace was going to go. But there was an important moment when Darren O'Sullivan missed a chance, and then Dublin tacked on a heap of points after that.
Yeah, Dublin came with a run of 5 points in a row after that. Kerry 4, and it showed the bravery and composure of the Dublin team, that even though they were in a very, very tight situation against the Kerry team, whose forward power was rampant, they still managed to come back up. There's no doubt about it, Dean Rock made a huge impact on the game. I think he scored a goal and 3 points. He's becoming super sub along with Kevin.
The other lads were brave. I mean, there was Andrews taking a pot there, and you know, at that stage Dublin needed them.
Absolutely, and Bernard Brogan today, probably for the first time against Mark O'Shea, I think he got 4 or 5 points from play, and he got 2 very important ones when Dublin needed them most. And Diarmuid Connolly here swings one over right to left. He came more into the game, but I think what was happening is the energy of the Dublin players is beginning to overwhelm Kerry. Like Dublin won the second half by 2-9 to 6 points. Now I know that the late goal put a gloss on the game, but it still showed that Dublin for the last 10 minutes were relentless in their approach.
They still needed something. Still needed the goal though, Joe. Dublin.
Well, that was what broke the back of the game. I mean, we could feel it coming. Kerry were increasingly being hemmed in. You know, their inside forwards were being marginalised. I mean, Cooper wasn't able to get on the ball at all. And then Michael Dara, who's of course an absolute Trojan, sets this guy up. Who must be the most patient Gaelic footballer in the land. You know, he sits on the bench. He wins an All-Ireland final a few years ago. Here he comes again today. Beautiful finish.
Goes for a point.
He did not go for a point. How long, boys? He did not go for a point.
A goal situation like that. When the game
he went for a point. He went for a point.
Okay,
that was a point he was
have
But can I?
If that's the case, it was a great goal, but a terrible effort at a point.
The beauty about the Dubs is this: that they're extremely eager to play the game. Yeah. They just play it, and there's an excitement about them. And Jim Gavin, I think, is a brilliant figurehead. You know, he's so serene, and he wants them to play that way, and he insists they play that way. But it's a great advertisement for Gaelic football.
You said, Pat, in the ad break there, that reflecting on this, you don't mind losing a game if you've given everything you can.
As a Kerry person, obviously disappointed, but you never mind losing a great game of football. That's number one. And Dublin were deserving winners. They won because, as Joe alluded to, they had the pace and the youth and the athleticism that kept pounding at Kerry. Like I said, Kerry had 4 defenders there for the last 10 minutes that were over 30 years of age, and it had to give. But what Kerry did today, they gave it all. They played to their... That was the best performance by Kerry team since probably last year's the All-Ireland final of 2011. It was a superb performance. They came up short, but well done to Dublin, and well done to Jim Gavin. He made vital substitutions, taking off Ger Brennan, bringing on Dennis Bastick, moving Keane O'Sullivan to centre half back, bringing on Dean Rock. The 2 subs, Rock and Kevin McMillan, scored 2 goals and 2 points. And the even bigger decision, you bring off your marquee forward who has just scored 5 points, 4 from play, Bernard Brogue. That's a sign of a great manager.
Well, what we'll do, Pat, is we'll send your compliments to the Dublin manager, Jim Gavin, because he's with Clare.
Jim, compliments from the panel on today's game. Obviously another classic in this great fixture, and it brings you a step closer to a league and championship double.
Yeah, it was a great game. 2 teams that really believed that they could win, and both of them showed that in the way they played football, the way we believe, and certainly Kerry would believe as well, the way it's meant to be played. And both teams really went at it, and it could have went either way at the end. Dublin camp, we were acutely aware of that. Great contest, and we're happy that we're into the final.
You were hit with early goals. Obviously, it's a worry to be conceding them, but you did respond well and didn't let yourselves fall too far behind.
Yeah, there's great resolve and determination and a willingness never to quit in this Dublin team. And certainly when we were going down to the final quarter, we had great belief, and the players themselves had great belief in their own ability and the extent of the panel. And we knew that they were going to keep going strong, and I think they kept the intensity of the game up at a great level throughout the full 70 minutes. It's a credit to them for doing that against a formidable Kerry side who really threw everything at us, and as I said, the game could have went either way, but we're happy to go out with the result.
Were you confident throughout, even after